The Indiana Hoosiers are looking for their next great superstar on the hardwood, and I think it's five-star point guard Deron Rippey.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Well, a lot to get to on today's episode. Way too early bracketology. Yeah, I'm still disrespecting Indiana. Plus, some different standouts in the wide receiver room, not named Elijah Sarratt and Omar Cooper. But we begin today's show with a superstar kid in the 2026 class that I think could be the next great Indiana Hoosier. And it is Deron Rippey Jr., someone who is an all-around five-star, one of the best players in the class of 2026, and considered the number 2 point guard in the country. And there are a lot of people who say, Jacob, Indiana doesn't have a chance here. Indiana's not landing Deron Rippey Jr. Don't you know that he's got visits to Kansas and Kentucky and Tennessee and North Carolina and all these other places? Don't you know he's going on visits there? Ain't no way that Indiana lands this kid. All right, that's your opinion. That's fine. But I'm going to take the route today of, what if we do? What if we do land Deron Rippey Jr.? What if one of the greatest players in this class, top 20 player, 247 has him as 18th in the country? What if he does decide to pick Indiana? Well, reminder, he's 6'2", 175 pounds, can do literally anything he wants to on the basketball floor. He can shoot from three. He can create his own shot in the lane. He can dunk over people and pretty much is just a wizard with the basketball in his hands. Indiana hasn't had a guy like that in quite some time at the guard spot, right? I mean, we're going way back here to talk about some dudes that are in comparison to a Deron Rippey Jr., who absolutely could play anywhere in the country that he wanted to. I'm saying that Indiana would love to have him, and I think he would become an instant superstar in Bloomington. He's already a superstar at the high school level, playing in New Jersey, has played on all these different travel teams, and again, is taking more official visits than maybe I've ever seen. More on that in a moment. But he would be instantly the best player on the team this time next year if he were to commit to the Hoosiers, because you're going to lose some guys, and what that guard room looks like, we don't really know. And I think you have a lot of good guards on this team, but I don't know how many great guards you have on this team, especially next year when Lamar Wilkerson and those guys are no longer here. You're going to need somebody like Deron Rippey to step in who can and most likely will start as a freshman wherever he goes. You need somebody like that if you're Darren DeVries in Indiana. And as we've said before, you can sell that to him. You can sell the idea of, hey, man, we've had a lot of legendary guards here in our past. Not, I guess, me in particular, Darren DeVries, but Indiana in general. You will be beloved here. We need you here, and you will play here. You will instantly step on the floor and be our starting point guard in 26 and 27. And I think that's absolutely true. I'm not saying that to blow smoke. I think that's absolutely true. You land somebody like this, or Taylon Kenny for what it's worth, who's ranked number 1 in the country, they start immediately. That's how this thing works. And I know that Darren DeVries, to me anyway, doesn't come off as John Calipari-esque, where he's going to try and land a bunch of high-level freshmen and only play freshmen, and that's going to be his MO. I don't think that's what DeVries wants to do, but with a brand new program and what will be a shell of a team next year, you may not have a choice, depending on what you do or don't do in the transfer portal, which we don't know what that looks like either. I'm saying Deron Rippey Jr. is the answer. He is the answer to that problem. He is your scorer. He's your ball handler. He is a good defender. He's your leader. He's your explosive guy. He's your energy guy. And he is someone who has multiple years of eligibility when he gets to college. Now, how long he hangs around in the college game, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But so many of those question marks that you're going to have this time next year for Indiana basketball, Deron Rippey is the answer. All right. So, yes, it is an uphill battle because he is now up to, I believe, 10 official visits. I think it was 8 the last time we talked, unless this has changed. He's going to, and these are in order. I won't read the dates, but these are in order. He's going to Miami, North Carolina, Alabama, Texas, Syracuse, Kentucky, Indiana, Duke, Tennessee, Kansas, and NC State. That was as of yesterday. So count them with me again. Miami, North Carolina, Alabama, Texas, Syracuse, Kentucky, Indiana, Duke, Tennessee, Kansas, and NC State. My hands counted 11. My goodness, that is unbelievable from August 27th all the way through November 9th. And I will go ahead and let you know right now, Indiana is on October 17th through the 19th, right? He's right there at the end of these 6 big official visits that the Hoosiers have coming up. I see it to be about impossible that he gets through all of those official visits. Somebody will get him to pull the trigger before he gets to November 9th at NC State. Hate to tell you, Wolfpack, probably ain't happening. Somebody will get him to say, man, this is where I want to be. This is it. I think the situation's right. I think the money's right. I think everything is right. I'm going to go ahead and commit right here. It could be Miami. It could be Texas. It could be Indiana. It could be Kansas. Who knows? I'm just saying, when you have a player of this caliber that has this many official visits set up, pretty much just bang, 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 back to back to back, they normally don't make it all the way through. And that's just reality. It is what it is. Because they're so good, all these teams are going to throw everything they can at Deron Rippey Jr., and I'm saying Indiana needs to be one of those teams as well. And you absolutely could pull off, maybe not a miracle, but you'd pull off an upset victory here. And he would be such an impactful addition to your already recruiting class, right? That's got your one player in there as of right now with Prince Alexander Moody. He's a solid piece. You got to build around him. And Deron Rippey Jr. is the answer to that. Go get him. You're going after some big time centers. You're going after some forwards. This is the guard that you want. Go get Deron Rippey Jr., make him the future of Indiana basketball, and give him whatever he wants. Welcome to recruiting in 2025 because he will be worth it. I can guarantee it. All right, coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers, we're going to talk a little football because that receiver room for Curt Cignetti is pretty exciting. But who else can step up other than Sarratt and Omar Cooper? We talk about that coming up next here on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth. Can you? Whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, and get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. I love it because it's all in one, as it says, it's literally all in one place. You don't have to go to this account and sign in over here and then go over here and sign in over here and kind of compare them side by side. And then you forget what your password is on the other app. So you got to go through that whole process. If I forgot my password, don't have to do that anymore. Monarch Money's all in one spot, and you can keep it clean and concise with Monarch Money. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off for your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONCollege. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Open Phone. If you're running a business, every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time that you needed a service from somebody or something, right? If the person didn't answer, Did you wait around? Did you call them back? You probably didn't. You probably moved on and went to find somebody else. That's why you need Open Phone, so you never miss an opportunity to connect with your customers. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications. If you have a big team, but they're all capable of answering the phone and taking appointments and taking clients or whatever the case may be, you can do that with Open Phone. It's a shared inbox. So that way you're not questioning, hey, who's on this? Who answered this phone? Who's doing this? You can all answer with the same shared inbox. Okay. See why over 60,000 businesses are trusting Open Phone right now. They're offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/locked on college. That's Open Phone, OPENPHONE, openphone.com/locked on college. They'll even port over your existing numbers for free. Open Phone, no missed calls, which means no missed customers. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. And hey, we're growing like crazy. And I say that every day, every week, every month on this show, but it's true. And you're the reason for doing so. And you're the reason for that. And so thank you for that and for allowing us to continue to do what we do. And the easiest way to continue to help us grow, if you're watching on YouTube, is to like the video, leave your thoughts down in the YouTube comment. Do you think that Indiana can land Deron Rippey Jr.? Honestly, do you think it can happen? Let us know in the YouTube comments, and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, it's free, it's simple, and it's going to let you know every time we post a new episode. Same thing if you're listening on an audio platform. Just follow us there, turn on those notifications so you never miss a new episode. All right, we flip over to football because I want to talk about a position group that is being highlighted and is being hyped up, and I think most Indiana fans are excited for on the surface because of two guys that are coming back who are just elite at their position, two of the best in the Big Ten, two of the best in college football, really, and they're going to be a lot of fun. It's Elijah Sarratt and Omar Cooper for Indiana football in the wide receiver room. There's no secret about what they're able to do. They are two dudes. Elijah Sarratt's getting most of the love, but Omar Cooper deserves a lot of it too. They were in our top 100 here at Locked On. They're getting preseason award watch list love. I mean, and it's all deserved, right? We know what those guys do. They will be wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. You can even say 1A and 1B if you really wanted to go that far. And I don't think that that's incorrect to say, because they're going to be really good. Curtis Rourke helped them out and made them look good. And I think Fernando Mendoza is going to do the same thing. They're good players. I'm saying they had a good quarterback to go along with it, which makes them even better, right? And I think that that's going to be the case with Fernando Mendoza. And they were a huge part last year of why Indiana's offense was so explosive. It wasn't just these 5-6 yard crossing routes that they made into big plays. Those were there, yes, but these were the dudes who, throw it down there. They'll make the grab. Oh, yeah, there he goes. He's 10 yards past his defender because he broke his ankles back at the line of scrimmage. Dump it off to him. Boom, he's gone, right? Those types of things are what made Indiana such a dangerous offense in 2024. I expect that to be the exact same case in 2025 with Elijah Sarratt and Omar Cooper. Problem is, the defenses know it too. If I know that they're going to be good, and you know that they're going to be good, these opposing defenses and defensive coordinators that are now making more money than most people do in general, they also know who Elijah Sarratt and Omar Cooper are. And so when you start looking at the defenses you're going to go up against this season, you're going to play some hard-nosed dudes. Illinois, Iowa, Oregon, Penn State. You're going to play some really talented defenses with really talented defensive coordinators who are going to put their best dudes on Sarratt and Omar Cooper. So that brings up the question, all right, who else? Who's next? Who else is in that room that we can rely on? Because it's easy to fall into the trap of, oh yeah, receiver room's good. It's fine. We got Sarratt and Cooper out there. We're fine. We don't need anybody else. I fall into that trap. I clearly have fallen into that trap several times because you just know they're so good and you're just so confident in those guys. But fact of the matter is, they're not going to be open every time, and they're going to be covered, and teams are going to put a focus on them and prevent them from catching the football or even having a chance to catch the football. And reason I bring this up is because Curt Cignetti spoke really, really high of EJ Williams, a guy that almost quit football, almost left Indiana, has yet to really have a true season or career because he just can't stay healthy. But he spoke really highly of EJ Williams, the redshirt senior, 6'4", 200 pounds, down from Alabama, a guy that's really, really talented. And Cignetti talked about his playmaking ability, his big play ability, and how, yeah, we're going to need that this year. And I totally agree. You're going to have some of these dudes step up for when Sarratt is double covered or Cooper is double covered, or you're just going up against NFL level corners at sometimes when you're playing against Big Ten defenses. That's just how it goes. So who is that going to be? I think EJ Williams could be that guy. And hopefully so. If Cignetti's saying good things about him, you want to feel good about him. Makai Jackson is an option in there. Jonathan Brady is an option in there. Remember, that's the Cal transfer guy who played with Mendoza a year ago. So you do have options. I think Jonathan Brady's one to look out for. I think Makai Jackson can make plays. I love LeBron Bond. He's the freshman. It's going to take him a while, I think, but I think he's really, really good from Virginia. But EJ Williams and Tyler Morris, you talk about another experienced guy in that room. I mean, man, you have so many older players in here. You've got experience and you've got leadership and you have, hopefully, trust outside of Elijah Sarratt and Omar Cooper. So any of those guys that I named, and maybe even the ones that I didn't, you have options there. And so I'm telling you, Indiana fans, be in love with Sarratt and Cooper and enjoy what you're going to see this year because it will be magical and they will make plays and they will be the most dangerous people on the field when Indiana's offense is out there. But I'm telling you, look out for some other guys. And those are my predictions. Those three are kind of my picks. EJ Williams, Makai Jackson, and then Jonathan Brady from Cal. Those are kind of my three guys to watch out for. And we're going to have to learn. It's like, okay, how are you guys going to get open? What are you going to do to get the football? How are you going to make an impact? And what plays are drawn up and ran for them to do so? How does Fernando Mendoza deliver the football to you? What's the timing like between Mendoza and these other guys? Because I'm sure it's easy for Mendoza to fall into the trap of, all right, I got Cooper on one side and I got Sarratt on the other. All right, here we go. And just look for one of those. I'm sure that's easy to do. But again, they're not going to be open every time. So I feel good about it, though. That and then the passing game with the tight ends, too. We've talked a lot about that with Nowakowski and then Holden Stays, right? The Tennessee transfer. I think those guys are going to be implemented a lot this year, and they should. I hope they are because I think Indiana needs it. I think that would really open up some things in third and shorts, in the red zone, goal to go, all those types of things that, let's be honest, Indiana wasn't in a ton of goal to go situations a year ago just because of the big playability and execution that they had. But now you've got some options, or at least just blocking on the outside, getting them involved in the run game and the pass game, running a little 12 personnel. I mean, you have options now with legitimate tight ends where you haven't had that in years past. The passing game is still going to be what Indiana needs to do and go to when they want to pick up yards. The running game will be fine, but the passing game is where Indiana is going to make their hay. That's where they're going to make people pay, and you're going to do it, yes, with Sarratt and Cooper, but I'm telling you, there's other options in that room. So keep an eye on those three guys, Makai Jackson, EJ Williams, and also Jonathan Brady, and then your two tight ends with Nowakowski and Holden Stays. All right, coming up on our final segment of Locked On Hoosiers, we'll flip back to basketball because there's a way too early bracketology. And don't worry, Joe Lunardi gives the Hoosiers so much love, right? Do you believe me? Can you hear it in my voice? We'll talk about where the Hoosiers are, where they should be, and where they possibly will be. We're talking about that next in our final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Prize Picks. This episode is with Prize Picks and the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and college football isn't far behind. Whether you've got your eye on big-name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get into the game. I use Prize Picks almost every day. I love Taco Tuesday. I love Flex Friday, where you can make some picks, put some money in, and if you lose, they're going to give you your money back in some bonus bets and things. And so I love using Prize Picks, and with that flex play, it really is a total game changer. Even on one of your picks, if it misses, you still have doubled your money. They're still going to get paid, and you get your bet back. That's how Prize Picks works. It puts their members first, so with all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, time to run your game. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. August 26th, which is only less than a week away if you're watching this and listening on the day that this comes out. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or you're ready to crown your team as a Super Bowl champion before week one even begins, this is your moment. Think about some of those long shot Super Bowl teams that have some of those odds. I mean, hey, we've started to see some starting quarterbacks get named out there. So maybe you're a Saints fan, maybe you're a Colts fan, and whatever drama's going on there in Indianapolis. I don't know about all that now, but maybe you feel confident in Daniel Jones to be the man in Indianapolis. Maybe you think he's MVP. Maybe you think he's taking the Colts to a Super Bowl. If you do, you can place those bets right now at FanDuel. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bet now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. All right, final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Again, thank you so much for being here and making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. And we're talking a little basketball on the way out here, because I know it's August and I know that there is still a lot of football to be talked about. But we continue to see these updated basketball projections and bracketologies and things like that. And they all continue to disrespect the Indiana Hoosiers. No surprise there, right? But the one that always gets me fired up is old Joe Lunardi at ESPN. He always has Indiana just right there on the outside looking in. Not going to believe in them, but still going to take credit that I had them kind of close in case they do exceed expectations. And he's got to miss the first four out. Now, this one was late July. This was July 29th. So I assume here in the next week or so, he'll come out with another one late August, since teams are still even making additions in the transfer portal, which is kind of wild. But you do have teams who will eventually start practicing. You've had teams like Indiana who have traveled and played games, and so maybe that changes his tune a little bit. I don't really know. I doubt it, but he's got us as the first four out right there with Washington, Marquette, and Nebraska. And the reason I bring that up is because you play that Marquette team in the second game of the season in your non-conference schedule. So think about how important that game is. Think about how big of an opportunity that is for Indiana, and for Marquette for that matter, to get a non-conference win like that, which could ultimately come back as a resume builder, as an NCAA tournament win on your resume if things play out the way Lunardi says that they do. That's a big opportunity for both squads, including Indiana. So keep that in mind. Other teams right here, last four buys. Maryland is in there from the Big Ten. Iowa's the last four in. Talked about Washington. And so overall, the Big Ten is pretty well represented. 11 teams in the NCAA tournament. That does not count Washington and Indiana as the first four out. So if they could somehow squeeze their way in, all of a sudden you're talking about 13 teams from the Big Ten making it to the NCAA tournament, which is what the SEC did last year. He's projecting 14 teams from the Southeastern Conference. I just don't see him doing it again, man. They had 13 last year, and there were a lot of good ones last year. I'll give them that. I just don't think they're going to do it 2 years in a row. I don't believe in the SEC to be that good, nearly top to bottom yet again in 25 and 26. I could be wrong, but I don't see it happening. And I'll be completely honest, I've got to see more from the Big Ten top to bottom to say that we're going to get double digit teams into the tournament. Maryland, I need to see some more. Iowa, I need to see some more. Indiana and Washington, I need to see some more. I really, really do. And some of these other lower ranked Big Ten teams, I mean, I look at USC at 7. I need to see some more. I look at Oregon at 7. Yeah, that's probably about right. Right? That's probably right. Ohio State at 6. Yeah, maybe give or take. I think they're going to be good this year. I thought Ohio State was going to be good last year, but I think they'll be good this year. You look around a couple of others here before we go. Purdue's a 1 seed, as we are all projecting. Michigan is a 2 seed. Yeah, that's probably about right. They're going to be really, really good. And so Michigan State is a 5. Yeah, that could be about accurate. So we're kind of spread around in there is the Big Ten. And I think we're going to be top heavy. I think we'll be really top heavy. I think our teams at the top will be really, really good. And now we got to fill in the rest. We got to fill in the gaps. And if we do, like a team like Indiana, then I think we have a good chance to put double-digit teams into the NCAA tournament. And I think that's the goal for the Hoosiers this year. If you're Darren DeVries and you're year one, make the NCAA tournament. You do that, and I think Hoosiers fans will be okay. So play some winning basketball, have a new brand, a new style, a new vibe, if you will. And I think they will. If you do all those things and you make the NCAA tournament, I think you're going to be just fine. And I do think the Hoosiers make the tournament. So I think Lunardi's wrong. I think most bracketologists right now are wrong, but most of them are wrong because it's August and they're trying to predict what's going to happen in the middle of March. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep tracking that. Just wanted to bring that up to you and let you tear it apart as much as I did. So that is it. We are out of time on today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers, but thank you so much again for being here. Truly do appreciate you showing up every single day and supporting this show any way that you do. All right, Hoosier fans, we are back tomorrow for another episode. So until then, stay safe and I'll talk to you later.